For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh. Today we are going on a heist with the buddy comedy. This is Stealing Pulp Fiction. Stealing Pulp Fiction is about exactly what the title says. It's about a group of four friends that essentially get together and decide that they want to rob Quentin Tarantino of his original print of the cult classic Pulp Fiction. So this is going to be a very niche film, and even this review will probably only go after a very niche audience. But basically, this is a comedy that is made for people that love movies, that love the art of filmmaking, that love the appreciation and the conversation and the community that comes along with the world of film. And as somebody that avidly loves the medium of film and podcasting about film and critiquing film, like much like you're watching right now, this movie hit me in a really pleasant way that I felt like this was a movie that was made for me. I felt like almost kind of like I stumbled into a secret club. This movie is very delightful. The comedy here is very hit or miss. There's kind of no in between. It doesn't land at all times. I would probably say it lands about 50% of the time. You could tell that there's a joke based on how the character responds, or there's a quip that you can kind of tell was written to be funny, and it kind of just doesn't land. But when the comedy lands here, it lands hard, and that was one of the things that I very much appreciated about this movie. And there are really no two genres of film that are harder to crack than comedy and horror. Because here's the thing, what scares one person might not scare another person. What makes someone laugh might not necessarily make someone else laugh. And so even critiquing the comedy here, this is, from my vantage point, this is what made me laugh. But also, someone else might look at this movie and be like, this was not for me. And then someone else might look at this and be like, I laughed literally the entirety of the 77 minutes. Also, that is one of the most refreshing things about this film is simplicity, it's quick-paced, and really just how lighthearted this film feels. Like, I was very surprised to get to experience this in under 80 minutes. And it's a good movie at that. And understand what it wants to be. First and foremost, it doesn't drag its feet. It is intended on its narrative, on what it wants to be. It also has these moments where it builds up some of the characters, not necessarily all of the characters, and that kind of was another problem for me. Let's get into it. So at the core of our story, we have the duo of Jon Rudnitsky as well as Karan Soni, the latter of who most people will recognize as Dupender from the Deadpool trilogy. And honestly, this movie opens up on the two of them having conversations about their hopes and their dreams. And you kind of right out the gate, you're like, all right, these guys, you're invested into them. You can see their relationship and their on-screen chemistry was impeccable. I really loved scenes with them in it. But anytime the film split them up was kind of where some of my issues started to arise. Rudnitsky just kind of feels like an underdeveloped idea, really. He's very one note, and he kind of, the thing that I walked out of it is two things. First, he loves Quentin Tarantino, and second, he wants to go on a date with the girl of his dreams. And those are kind of like the only factors that you really follow throughout the course of this near 80-minute comedy. But on the other hand, this kind of feels like a comedic showcase of Soni's ability as both a leading man, not just a character actor like what we typically see of him in other films, but this really kind of made him feel developed. He felt like really three-dimensional, very fleshed out, and I very much appreciated that. But he just had incredible comedic timing here. And I feel like this is a film, if you ever want to see what he is capable of as an actor, as a leading man, this is the movie to check out. And he's incredible in it. Also, it's been a while since we've seen Jason Alexander in anything. He plays a kind of a minor role in this one. very delightful here as well. He's also worth bringing up. I very much liked him. And unlike the movie Fanboys, this movie actually did cast an actor to play Quentin Tarantino, and he's okay. I don't really want to get into too much of him because he is a very late addition to the cast, but stay tuned for the post-credit scene. I'm ready to run this one through our Rorschach rating scale, though. I'm going to go ahead and give Stealing Pulp Fiction a solid 3 out of 5. Overall, I felt like this was a fantastic comedy. This is a delightful treat for cinephiles and for fans of Quentin Tarantino as well. I felt like this movie was the buddy comedy I didn't know that I needed. Comedy doesn't always land, and some of the characters do feel really underdeveloped, but it is also worth mentioning that this is an incredible comedic showcase for Karan Soni, who most people will know as Dupender from the Deadpool films, and he is just incredible here, and I really hope that we get to see more roles like him in the future. Stealing Pulp Fiction hits limited release and VOD this Friday, June 27th. If you're a cinephile, I cannot recommend this movie enough. It was very delightful. But let's get into mental health, shall we? If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we will take a theme of mental health out of the film which we're reviewing, talk about it for a few moments in the hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. So Jason Alexander in this movie plays the therapist for both Rudnitsky and Soni in this movie, and there's a moment in this where they are kind of have this awkward exchange, and Soni especially says, practice makes perfect, and Alexander's character as a therapist says practice makes progress. And that really hit me on a deeply profound level that I cannot articulate enough when you're talking about your own mental health, that it may never get perfect. It may always be somewhat of a work in progress. And that's the other thing that he talks about in this, is that the idea of striving for perfection actually is going to do more harm than it does good. The idea is to embrace the progress and the little steps that you make along the way. And sometimes progress just means getting through the day. It just means embracing what we've seen and understanding that it's okay to have bad days, and it's okay to have moments where we feel like we've fallen short. But again, it is the art of progressing and keep pushing forward and staying until tomorrow, and then the tomorrow's tomorrow, and etc., etc. And as someone that has faced depression on and off throughout the years, continues to go on battles with anxiety, I understand that this is easier said than done, but it is worth fighting for, and it is worth putting in the effort for it. Practice makes progress, and that's really all we can ask for when it comes to our mental health, is continuing to work on ourselves and continuing to find ways to love ourselves and to cherish ourselves, because sometimes we may have seasons where that's all we have, and that's okay. That is okay. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please click the link in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. Once again, Stealing Pulp Fiction lands in limited release and digital VOD platforms starting tomorrow, June 27th. If you guys have seen this during its festival run, what did you guys think about it? Are you a cinephile? What are you going to check it out? But until next time, remember to keep it classy, keep it spooky.